Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, fellow dregs to society. Welcome, all you rock dwellers. Welcome here. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. Joining me today as my co-host is the patriot from the battle-born state, the Silver State of Nevada, and that's Sharron Engel. Sharron, welcome back to Conservative Commandos.
Thanks, Rick. It's always great to be here, especially after a weekend full of news. And I guess I'm a little irritated. It was full of news that I didn't hear about. And I think it's, I get kind of angry over the idea that maybe we're not getting all the news because of this politically correct agenda that the news media has. They want to tell a narrative instead of telling what's happening in the world. And I guess I'm referring mostly to an article out of the Jerusalem Post. Ceasefire reached after Hamas Islamic Jihad fired 700 rockets at Israel. Some 700 rockets have been fired at Israel from the Gaza Strip since the security situation escalated over the weekend. The Iron Dome intercepted 173 rockets, according to their news channel. And Netanyahu says Israel has changed the rules of engagement in Gaza. In the past 2 days, we have renewed the policy of eliminating senior terrorists. We killed dozens of terrorists from Hamas and Islamic Jihad and destroyed terror towers, he said. And I guess this is in response to them actually breaking a ceasefire. They said, "Oh yeah, okay, well, we're not going to fight anymore." So they said, "Fine, it's peace again." Well, a couple hours later, they're firing more rockets. So he says, "No, we're not going to. We're changing the rules of engagement." And I thought, "Hooray for you, Benjamin Netanyahu!" He just.
Sharron, what makes them think? What makes them think? And I'm talking about the Israelis now. What makes the Israelis think that they can negotiate with those people? And when I say those people, I mean the terrorists. Because they will never, you're not dealing with a credible enemy in as much, you're not dealing with an honorable enemy. You are dealing with an enemy who has only one thing in their mind, that is the destruction of Israel. So I think it's crazy for Israel to think that you can negotiate with those people and for those people to respect the negotiations. Sharron, I think there's only going to be one thing that stops that mess over there, and that is an all-out war on Hamas and the other terrorists that are in that area. And I'll tell you why. Because, for instance, what stopped the war in Vietnam? And that's when it became so unpopular in this country. The people demanded that we end the war, which we did. And that's what, Sharron, that's what ends every war. When mothers are afraid of losing their sons and daughters, and I hate to say it, but the way you win a war is you break things and you kill people. When war becomes so untasteful for the people of that area, they'll finally say, "Stop, enough is enough. We can't have any more of this killing. We can't have any more of this destruction." Then and only then will it stop.
I think also there's an element here, and this is why we're not hearing about it in our news, is that the Islamic terrorists, and that's what they are, of Hamas, have somehow ingratiated themselves with our media, and so they don't want to give any bad reports. But the Hamas Islamic Jihad are celebrating a victory. They say this time they received assurances from Egypt, Qatar, and the United Nations that Israel will fulfill its obligations under the previous understandings reached. Hamas and the Islamic Jihad officials see the ceasefire agreement that was reached with Israel early Monday as a big achievement. In their view, the last round of fighting, during which the two groups fired hundreds of missiles towards Israel, has deterred Israel and forced it to commit to the implementation of previous Egyptian-sponsored understandings, which include easing restrictions imposed on the Hamas-ruled coastal enclave. So they're just going to bully Israel or try to bully Israel until they get what they want, and that's why none of these agreements are any effect. But bless Benjamin Netanyahu's heart. He says he's exhausting all of the options before going to war, and I think that's correct. He issued a statement and he says, we hit over 350 targets. We struck terrorist leaders and operatives, and we destroyed terrorist buildings. The campaign is not over, and it demands patience and sagacity. We are prepared to continue. The goal has been and remains ensuring quiet and security for the residents of the South. So he's not done, and he's just patiently waiting for them to, I guess, exhaust all the options, and then he goes to war.
Sharron, don't you think after the 70 years that Israel has been in existence, all the options have been exhausted? I mean, again, you cannot negotiate with a terrorist. Another thing you can't do, you cannot fight these surgical wars. Oh, we'll hit this, we'll hit that, we'll destroy this, we'll destroy that, we'll kill this leader. Because as soon as you kill one leader, there's just another one to take his place. It's got to be an all-out war. I'm sorry, but that is how we won the Second World War. We had an all-out war against Germany. We had an all-out war against Japan. We destroyed their countries. We destroyed their ability and their will to make war. And Sharron, that's the only thing that's going to stop it. 70 years they've been fighting over there since the beginning of Israel in 1948, 71 years. I would think they've already exhausted every option.
Well, they probably have and do agree with you, but of course this is politics. And remember, we just mentioned the United Nations. They're in an all-out anti-Semitic stand here. They hate Israel, and they will side with Israel, and they are actually talking anti-Semitism in our Congress. So, when you start embracing these things all over the world, Israel's bad, Islam good, Israel bad, Islam good. Netanyahu has to, again, kind of walk a tightrope. He doesn't want to alienate the U.S. and his friendship with Donald Trump and the aid that they get. He can't afford to do that. And when he sees our politics rolling the way it is, it's hard for him to find a good middle ground where he can defend his country and still stay in a good place around the world. And then, of course, there's stuff at home, the politics at home. Here's an article that says that they're complaining that our government doesn't take care of us. They just don't care about us. That's
who's complaining? Who's making this complaint?
Those folks that live on that border with Gaza. They're saying, well, the government just doesn't take care of us, and they should make sure that we don't get bombed. And they were asked, well, why don't you move if you don't like it? And they said, well, it's a lovely place to live. We like our home. So he's kind of got...
Get along with your neighbor.
Yeah,
if you can't get along with your neighbors, move. If it's such a lovely place to live, get along with your neighbor. I mean, geez, that's what we do in our communities. If you got a neighbor you can't get along with, you move.
Yeah.
If you have a lovely neighborhood, then you get along with your neighbors and everybody's happy. Sharron, we got to go to a break. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Engel. For rebroadcasts of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. Today's show, like all our shows, is brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Sharron and I will be right back. We'll tell you who our guests are and our topics for conversation. Be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. Want to give a shout out to the folks who listen to us in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, and now heard in Washington and Arlington, Virginia. Washington, D.C., and Arlington, Virginia. So want to welcome those folks to Conservative Commandos radio show. Sharron, who will we be speaking with?
Well, we're going to speak first with Hans Von Spakovsky, who is an authority on the wide range of issues, including civil rights, civil justice, the First Amendment, immigration, the rule of law, and government reform. As a senior legal fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Edwin Meese III Center for Legal and Judicial Studies, his analysis and commentary have appeared in the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Times, Politico, Human Events, National Review Online, and Town Hall. Along with John Fund, he is the co-author of Who's Counting? How Fraudsters and Bureaucrats Put Your Vote at Risk, and Obama's Enforcer, Eric Holder's Justice Department. Hans is going to talk to us about an article that he co-authored with a fellow there at the Heritage, Charles Stimson, entitled Judges Can't Ignore Immigration Laws They Don't Like. I'm so glad that our friend Anna Little is an immigration judge, and I know she's not ignoring the law. So it will be interesting, though, to hear Hans and Charles's take on judges, once again, legislating from the bench or deciding from the bench how the country should go. This is not their constitutional mandate.
Nope.
And their overreach is just stunning sometimes.
All right. Well, I'm going to be leading the interview with the second guest, and that guest is going to be Mike Zelenty. Mike has written a book. He's actually written a book for children, Dr. Deplorables, Political Characters from A to Z. You know, Sharron, we get a lot of requests for us to interview authors of books. And frankly, my dear, I don't have the time. But every now and again, we get a book that I just have to talk about and have the author on. This is Dr. Deplorables, and this is a children's book. And you and I have talked about the indoctrination of our children in government schools from teachers and administrators. I think by and large, kids today, for a large part, are raised by television. The Sesame Street generation has gone on, and now there are multiple channels and networks with children's programming. Most of them have some sort of a political agenda. And I'm so glad that Mike wrote Dr. Deplorables, because this is one of our answers, a conservative answer for children, something that parents can read to their children, giving them a conservative slant on things for a change. So it's going to be great to have Mike Zelenty join us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, and our last guest is Nicole Neily, who's president and founder of Speech First. She's also former president of the Franklin Center for Government and Public Integrity and has worked as executive director and senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum and as manager of external relations for the Cato Institute. Nicole is going to be talking to us about an article she wrote, Prospective Students, Parents Must Take Ownership of College Decision Process. We've had several guests on talking about the problem with our higher education system, and I'm excited to hear what Nicole's solution is, because I know that parents are just overwhelmed by the cost of college in the first place, and then when they get to the exit point where their student comes home, he's a different fellow or she's a different girl. They're no longer that person that left home with conservative family values. They come back with an agenda similar to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Sorry. she is
she's good for me.
boggling. She is mind-boggling, the ignorance that she has when it comes to just government and civics, and yet she has become a poster child for the Democrat Party, and she claims an economic degree from Boston College. Her parents must be just
proud of her,
amazed, right? I would be amazed if my kid came home and didn't even know the Constitution, but she certainly knew all about the fake climate change stuff. Wow.
Well, I still say I bet she could make a mean margarita. I think that waitressing and bartending are the only jobs that she has had in the outside world. Oh, yeah, that qualifies her.
Yeah,
that qualifies
to be
her
our
to
congressman, right? You know, I want to switch over just one more time to the Middle East because, that's a hotbed. And I think many people have analyzed it and said if we're going to have a third world war, it will probably start there in the Middle East. And now we've sent an aircraft carrier to the Middle East after indications that Iran plans to attack U.S. forces. Late Sunday night, that was last night then, the White House made a surprise announcement that the USS Abraham Lincoln and a bomber task force were being deployed in response to unspecified troubling and escalatory indications and warnings. So, it just, the beat goes on sometimes when it comes to our national security, and we still say, oh, well, no problem. Why worry about people that we don't know coming across our southern border without, just indiscriminately? We don't even check them out. At least, we're paying attention to the warnings in the Middle East.
Well, thank you, President Trump. Do you think if Obama was in office, he'd send a battle carrier or an aircraft battle carrier group over there? I don't think so. And, Sharron, if we get involved in another situation in the Middle East, my suggestion is we bomb the hell out of them. We bomb them back to the Stone Age, like we did in Iraq, like we did in Syria. But please do not send our ground troops in. This nation building, this democracy building doesn't work. As I say, the only way to control these people is you must kill them, you must break their things. That's the only thing the Middle East understands. That's the only thing they respect is power. That's the only way that they're going to respect the United States. If they know that their actions will have consequences, and they won't like them. They won't like them at all.
Well, I think there's consequences to allowing socialists in our country to have a voice in government, because you have a story about Comrade Bernie Sanders.
Oh, Comrade Bernie is such an expert in business. He really is. I don't think he's ever had anything but a political government job. Anyway, Comrade Bernie is now telling Disney what to do with its profits from the Avengers. The Avengers is the hot new movie out there. It's breaking all kinds of records. And actually, the Avengers Endgame is a triumph of capitalism. A massive investment of capital went into the hordes of actors, extras, screenwriters, technicians, and many others. This would pay off. Americans flush with money from a booming economy have been flocking to see the movie. But Bernie Sanders, who didn't do a single bit of work to make this what it is now, one of the top earning films of our time, wants to cash in on someone else's success. And this is what Bernie says about the movie and what Disney should do with its profits. What would be truly heroic, Bernie tweeted, is if Disney used its profits from Avengers to pay all of its workers a middle-class wage instead of paying CEO Bob Iger $65 million, over 1,400 times as much as the average worker at Disney makes. Well, Sharron, here you go. Let's spread the wealth. Let's make everybody equally as poor. Here's Bernie Sanders now telling Disney what to do with their profits. And there's a trickle-down effect, in my belief, Sharron, when you have a money maker like the Avengers has been. What this will do, Sharron, is these profits will be used to make other movies. And I don't like Hollywood. I don't go to the movies, but I love capitalism. And capitalism is the machine, the driving motive to produce movies like The Avengers, businesses, industry. But if you take that and give it to the poor like Bernie wants, or provide everybody with a living wage, where then does the capital come from to provide these jobs, to provide these industries, to build these industries. You know, if people listen to Bernie Sanders, people listen to these other idiots from the left who want to run our country, run our country's economy, can they not see how things are going so well with the Trump economy? But no, that's not for them. They want to redistribute all the wealth, and all that is going to do, Sharron Angle, is make everybody equally poor.
Well, I think it's interesting, some of the terms here. Middle income wage. What is that? Is that more than $15 an hour? I don't know what that means.
Middle income living wage.
Yeah, I don't know what Bernie's, he's not defining terms here at all. The second thing that's troublesome about this is that he's no longer talking about government and distributing our wealth from taxes. He's now going to overreach into private business and tell them how to redistribute the wealth over there as well. So it isn't
what big government does, isn't it?
And so that's this little idea that government knows better than anything else. All private enterprise should be subjected to government in a way that they bring their profits into the storehouse and then they're redistributed, as you say. But finally, what happens to motivation here? Capitalism is what has grown this country, what has encouraged entrepreneurs, which has made millionaires and billionaires that really do give charitably. We are the most charitable nation in the world, and it's because those with wealth, they give their wealth away, but they have that choice. It's their choice on how much they give, where they give it, and what it goes for. It's not the government saying, well, we know better where to put your money. And the government has done such a lousy job of even redistributing tax dollars. Look at the stuff that we have that is corrupt. Our welfare systems are corrupt in so many areas. There's so much waste, fraud, and abuse. And, we now have a healthcare system that's, in some kind of deep problem, just catching a breath here. It just seems like everything that the government meddles in, it just kind of crumbles because of the corruption, the waste, fraud, and abuse, the politicians getting their piece of that pie. And I cringe when I hear socialists begin to talk, because they really do not understand what makes America great.
Indeed they don't. And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Drader. On the other side, we're going to be speaking with our friend, Hans Von Spakovsky. He's an authority on a wide range of issues from the Heritage Foundation. We're going to be talking about judges can't ignore immigration laws just because they don't like them. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our first guest.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1. and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. Want to give a shout out to the folks who listen to us in Tampa, Jacksonville, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Long Beach, California, and now in Arlington and Washington, D.C. Sharron, our first guest, is with us as usual. Please make him feel welcome.
Well, it's always a pleasure to introduce Hans Von Spakovsky, who is an authority on a wide range of issues, including civil rights, civil justice, the First Amendment, immigration, the rule of law, and government reform. As a senior legal fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Edwin Meese III Center for Legal and Judicial Studies, his analysis and commentary have appeared in the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Times, Politico, Human Events, National Review Online, and Town Hall. Along with John Fund, he is the co-author of Who's Counting? How Fraudsters and Bureaucrats Put Your Vote at Risk, and Obama's Enforcer, Eric Holder's Justice Department. Hans, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Sharon, it's great to talk to you again.
It's always good to have you here. We have an article that you and Charles Stimson wrote, Judges Can't Ignore Immigration Laws They Don't Like. This just sounds typical of our judiciary. They ignore the Constitution because they don't like it. So I guess I never get over how shocking it seems to me that the judges would get so politically involved in things that they don't even obey the law themselves. Kind of comment on that. Your whole article is about how these guys are doing this.
Well, yeah, it's specifically about a state court judge in Massachusetts, actually, and her bailiff, who basically obstructed enforcement of federal immigration law. What happened was she's a county court judge. A criminal illegal alien was arrested by the police in her town, Newton, Massachusetts, on a narcotics charge and for being a fugitive from justice in Pennsylvania. And when the ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they came to her courtroom as she had the hearing on his first appearance, the defendant's first appearance. When she found out ICE was there, she ordered the agent out of her courtroom. The agent was there to arrest the illegal alien. He had a warrant for his arrest. This alien has been twice deported from the U.S. Previously. And so what does she do? She orders the ICE agent out of her courtroom and then has the bailiff escort the illegal alien and his defense lawyer out a back door of the courtroom and the courthouse to avoid arrest by the ICE agent. She is now suffering the consequences of that because a federal grand jury in Boston has indicted her for obstruction of justice and conspiracy to obstruct justice.
I was going to ask, isn't that against the law? I mean, you and I can't harbor criminals, nor hide them, nor help them to escape.
Right.
And that's really what's happened here, isn't it?
No, it is. And the judge, she's a state court judge, but she seems to have forgotten that when you become a judge, you swear an oath to uphold the laws, not just of your state, but the laws of the United States Constitution. And in fact, Article 6 of the Constitution specifically says all state court judges are bound by the U.S. Constitution and federal laws that are passed under that Constitution.
So the judge has been indicted. How about the bailiff and the defense attorney? I mean, it seems like everybody here has a part to play and probably should share in the punishment.
Well, the bailiff has been indicted not only for obstruction of justice, but also for perjury. Why? Because he was called in front of the grand jury, and he claimed that he didn't know there was an ICE agent in the courthouse, and he claimed he didn't know there was an arrest warrant issued by the Department of Homeland Security on the illegal alien, even though the evidence was very clear. Everyone in the courtroom knew the ICE agent was there, and the entire courthouse had been notified that there was a warrant out for the arrest of this this illegal alien.
Well, so what about the attorney that's representing this illegal alien? Doesn't he feel a bit in jeopardy as well? Because, I mean, he escorted him out. So I would think at some point you say, wait a second, this is all against the law. I don't participate in illegal activity.
Well, I think it was probably more of a gray area on the defense attorney because, it's his job to do what he can to try to get his client off. So I think that's why the grand jury concentrated on the bailiff and the judge, because they are officers of the court, and they did have an obligation to execute that arrest warrant. The defense attorney did not.
So now this ICE agent, this is just really strange how this country is turned upside down when we talk about ICE. They're there to protect us. They're there to go and round folks up that are, and it looks like this guy's a bad actor. The way you described him, he's not there for my best interest. If I'm a resident of Massachusetts, I'm a little bit concerned about him being on the street. So how about this ICE agent? What could he do? What did he do when they said you can't even be in the courtroom?
Well, the ICE agent obeyed the order of the judge to leave, even though the judge was actually violating state court rules, which had said that court personnel throughout the state have to cooperate with ICE agents. Now, the ICE agent he waited in the lobby. He had no idea that the illegal alien was being let out the back door of the courthouse. But look, this is not an isolated phenomena. What happened in reaction to the grand jury indicting the judge is that several county district attorneys in the Boston area have now filed an absolutely frivolous lawsuit asking for a federal judge to prevent the Department of Homeland Security from arresting any illegal aliens inside or outside of a courthouse. They seem to also have forgotten that they have an obligation as court officers to help the federal government when it is trying to execute an arrest warrant.
So now we have sanctuary courtrooms, is what you're talking about.
Yes, that's exactly right. And, here's the thing about this. These prosecutors and this state court judge are endangering the safety of ICE agents. Why? Because the safest place for an ICE agent to arrest and detain a criminal illegal alien is in a courthouse. Why? Well, because to get into a courthouse, obviously, you have to go through metal detectors. So the ICE agent can be assured that when they go to arrest that illegal alien, that alien does not have a weapon. But by forcing the ICE agents out of the courthouse, they're basically endangering the safety of those agents, because when they stop an illegal alien on the street, they have no idea whether that alien is armed.
Wow. Well, we have to go to a break, Hans, but we want you to stay through with us. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California, specifically San Francisco and Sacramento, where all the liberal views are coming from. We're going to be right back with our guest, Hans Von Spakovsky, and we're talking about judges not being above the law. We'll also be here with our co-host, Rick Trader, and I'm Sharron Engel.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes. Now, people say, why didn't you report it to the authorities? Well, they were the ones doing it.
The integrity of one man, one vote doesn't apply at the Texas state legislature. There is no way to know if your representatives are voting for themselves.
Department, a Republican reaches back to vote for Democrat Oliveira. Democrat Matt Reynolds votes for Republican England.
2 out of 3 voters nationwide believe that voter fraud is a serious problem in the U.S. today.
The process is rigged.
Both sides of the aisle are guilty.
Florida now has to tell the Department of Justice whether the state will comply with DOJ's demand to stop purging thousands of people from its voter rolls.
We have the sloppiest election system of any industrialized democracy.
Philadelphia flagged 50,000 duplicate registrations, so just think how many more slipped through.
It's almost impossible to detect. How do you get caught? You only get caught if you confess.
Election corruption is deeply embedded in America. Quote, election fraud is a crime that usually pays, unquote, writes Tracy Campbell in his book, Deliver the Vote, A History of Election Fraud, an American political tradition from 1742 to 2004. In 1742, the first Prime Minister of Britain in the American colonies, Robert Walpole, was forced to resign.
We have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out as much as if you're prevented from voting.
If this is going to be fixed, it's going to have to be a citizen effort. It comes down to, it's the same old question, if not now, when? If not us, then who?
This is huge. This is about the democracy and the principles of the United States of America. People say, but why you? Why you? Why? Well, why not? And if it starts with a fireman, if it starts with a sanitation worker, if it starts with a teacher or a nurse or a caretaker of the elderly, then so be it. It's got to start somewhere. But it's time we come together and fix this problem once and for all.
There is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
Serious allegations of voter fraud. The claims raising questions about the
Commerce Secretary Ron Brown and 32 others were on a military plane that crashed today in a violent storm. There are no known survivors at this time.
The U.S. Army was funded by the evil entity.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
The process is rigged.
People die and fall for the right time. It's too brutal.
So it's incredibly important now that we draw a line and say, not on our watch.
Thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, and my co-host today is Sharron Engel. And our guest is Hans Von Spakovsky. He's an authority on a wide range of legal issues, and he's with the Heritage Foundation, and we're discussing judges can't ignore immigration laws they don't like. Hans, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time.
Sure thing.
Hey, Hans, I got to thank you again for bringing this, at least to my awareness. I didn't hear anything about this in the news. Nope. I think I'm a kind of a learned guy. I pay attention. I read the internet. I watch the internet. I watch TV. I haven't seen anything about this case until I read your article. So I want to thank you about that. But I guess that's because it doesn't fit somebody's politically correct narrative, correct?
No, I think that's exactly right. And look, we haven't even talked about the fact that this judge allowed someone who had twice been deported from the U.S., yet broke the law to come back, and then was arrested locally on a narcotics charge. She let him out on his personal recognizance rather than require him to post any kind of bail.
That is incredible. Hans, what happens to judges that break the law?
Well, look, she has been criminally charged under federal law. So if she's found guilty in federal court, she could serve time in prison. If she's found guilty also, she may be removed from office by the governor of the state. And if she's convicted of a felony, she's going to be disbarred. She's going to lose her law license.
Good.
Would that same thing go for the prosecutors who worked in concert with her?
Well, the prosecutors have not been indicted in this case. I think, again, it's because they don't really have any decision-making authority on whether someone can be released or not. But by the way, one of the reasons we know this was intentional wrongdoing is that, like most courts, the state rule in Massachusetts is that you have to have audio equipment on all the time in the courtroom to record the proceedings. And yet when it was brought to the attention of the judge that this was an illegal alien and there was an ICE agent in the courtroom and she ordered the ICE agent out, she turned to her court recorder and told the recorder to turn off the audio equipment while they apparently discussed what they were going to do.
Hans, aren't the people that work in the courts, the judges, the attorneys, officers of the court, and that they are responsible for reporting crimes and wrongdoings?
Yes, they are.
Well, also, what responsibility does this judge have? In other words, let's say she releases this guy goes out and commits other crimes, potentially robbing, shooting, knifing, worse. Can she be held responsible, both criminally and civilly, for any other crimes that someone she releases commits?
Probably not. Prosecutors and judges generally, under the law, enjoy what's called sovereign immunity. They can't really be sued for the acts they commit in office. Now, if a judge engages in wrongdoing, they can be removed as a judge, and if it's bad enough, potentially disbarred so they can no longer practice. But no, it's pretty tough to file a civil case against a judge for the consequences of something like this and actually win. That almost never happens.
Haven't we seen other examples of this? For instance, didn't the mayor of Oakland, California, make it easier or make it harder for ICE to do its job?
Yes, yes. We've had mayors and others in other sanctuary cities. We've had them do that, proclaim their cities to be sanctuary cities. To the extent that mayors tell, for example, local police officers that you cannot cooperate with ICE. You cannot send information to ICE about aliens that are arrested locally. That actually is a violation of federal law, and they can't do that.
Here on the Conservative Commandos radio show, our guest is Hans Von Spakovsky from the Heritage Foundation. You know, Hans, so many times I see things and hear things, and I'll tell you what I think. I wonder what Hans thinks about it. And the reason I'm going to bring this up now is the Barr hearings.
All right.
William Barr, the Attorney General, testified before this a Senate committee last week, and I just wanted to get your reactions about the testimony and also the questioning.
Well, the questioning was insulting, frankly, and vicious. And it was very clear that many of the members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, many of whom are running for president, were just looking for videos that they could use in their presidential campaign. But I can't remember a time when I saw a cabinet official treated with such disdain and contempt. And there was no reason for it. Barr has not done anything other than turn over the Mueller report to Congress as they requested and make a decision, as he was supposed to, as Attorney General, on the contents of the Mueller report. And I really think all the criticism of him is very unfair.
In any of the questioning, do you think that any of those candidates who are out there to make a name for themselves, who are running for president, did they lay a glove on him in any way?
No, I don't think so. And I was actually very impressed with the way I think Barr came out of that hearing without having had a finger laid on him. Why? Because he stuck to the facts, he stuck to the law, and he refused to back down. And he refused to do anything other than act as the very professional lawyer that he is.
Well, he's also refusing to testify before a House committee.
Right.
And could you explain this? He won't testify because he's not going to be it was proposed that surrogates question him and not the members of Congress. Could you explain that to me?
Sure. Chairman Nadler, that's Jerry Nadler, representative from New York, is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. And he told the Attorney General that it wouldn't be members of Congress questioning him, but it would be staff lawyers questioning him. Well, here's the issue. It's very true. Congress has the constitutional authority to do oversight. Members of Congress have the ability to question members of the executive branch when they have a legislative purpose to do that. But that right to question and investigate does not extend to staff members who work for members of Congress. Yeah, congressmen and congresswomen, they have a right to question the Attorney General. Their staffs do not. And I think that the Attorney General actually made the right decision when he said, look, I'm willing to appear to be questioned by members of Congress, but not by your staff, that's almost never happened. I think the Vice President was quoted as saying that he's never, ever seen that happen before.
Well, maybe in their little bit of sense, maybe just in a little bit of their common sense, they know they were not up for the task to going against William Barr.
That's probably true.
Hans Von Spakovsky, we want to thank you so much once again for coming on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Please tell our audience how they could follow your work, the work of the Heritage Foundation, and also to read what you write.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. They can go to heritage.org, heritage.org. But I also publish columns, including about Barr's testimony, at Fox News.
Hans Von Spakovsky, thanks again. Take care, and God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be talking about Dr. Deplorable's political characters. Don't go away. We will be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving, and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. For rebroadcasts of our shows, please check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. On there, you'll find rebroadcasts of our TV show, our radio show. We have a lot of great articles and a lot of great information I know you will enjoy. You know, Sharron, we do not do a lot of book reviews here on Conservative Commandos because, frankly, my dear, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to read them all. I wish I did, but every now and again, a book will pass by me that I just got to get the author on, got to talk about. And Sharron, for quite some time, you and I have been talking about the media, how the media has its own agenda, has its liberal agenda. We've also talked about the indoctrination of kids in our schools, and that's basically liberal indoctrination. And I've said we've got to combat this. We've got to get our message out there. Well, Mike Zelenty is helping that, and he has the book out, Dr. Deplorables, Political Characters. And I think that this is great learning. This is terrific material for parents to use to sit down with their kids to counteract all the liberal garbage that they get with some conservative characters. Mike Zelenty, thank you for joining us here at Conservative Commandos.
Well, thank you very much, and that's quite a bit of praise. I hope the book stands up to that.
Well, Mike, first of all, let's get the name right. It's Zelenty?
That's correct, Zelenty. Zelensky is the person in the Ukraine who recently became president or something.
All right. Well, that's important. I wanted to make sure we got that right. And also, again, the book is Dr. Deplorables, Political Characters. Mike, in a nutshell, in a thumb, tell us a little bit about this book. What do you try to do with it?
Well, like you, I have concerns about indoctrination of kids, and my children are now in their middle 20s, so it's long past the time. I remember thinking that I would talk to them about political things when they came up, follow their lead, whatever things they were interested in, we would talk about. I would read them books. I never really found any books that had a conservative or libertarian or whatever slant, a rightward slant. But I figured, these things will come up. And I found that time went by and they learned about these things in school or movies or whatever. And by the time they were talking to me about it, they had already pretty well formed their views. And not surprisingly, their views are left of mine. I mean, it doesn't bother me too much, but it did bother me a little bit that I had kind of fallen down on that. And I decided I could either kick myself or I could produce something that might be helpful for other parents in my situation. I mean, I worked in New Jersey when they were growing up, near Madison, New Jersey. Went into Madison. I'd buy them gifts and toys in downtown Madison. There was a bookstore there. It was a feminist bookstore, and you could find lots and lots of things if you wanted to teach your kids that side of the fence. But I just never really found anything other than Yertle the Turtle, where the regular turtle named Mac burps the king off the throne, or just a few other odds and ends. But there really wasn't anything out there. So I wanted to try to see if I could put something in that would at least start the ball rolling. Let's put it that way.
Well, Mike, I think it's great because, as I say, we have a little niece. And we watch her one day a week, and she loves to watch television. She loves to watch cartoons.
Right.
And when I see the type of television that is offered for kids, it's all politically correct. Absolutely, all politically correct.
It's gotten much, much worse in the 25 years since I started reading to my kids. Absolutely.
All right. I guess this everybody remembers Sesame Street and the Electric Factory and whatever, and now you've got like 10, I don't know, there's probably 10 networks or stations or channels on our TV that have shows for kids, Nickelodeon and a whole bunch of others. I can't go into them. A lot of programming for kids, a lot of parents use television as their babysitter, and as I said, most of them, or not all of them, have a liberal, politically correct slant. So how would you compare Dr. Deplorable's political characters from A to Z? How would you weigh this book against those shows?
Well, it is certainly not from a liberal slant. I did try to make it, I did try very hard not to make it a book of propaganda or a book of, I didn't want to be the crotchety old guy saying, you must listen to my way of doing things. I wanted it to be a fun book, and I think I've achieved that. And also, I recall distinctly, when the kids were growing up, the most fun books for them tended to be the ones that I was laughing at myself, because we would spend time over them and they could tell that I really enjoyed it. So there are kids' jokes in here. There are subtle jokes for adults and for the political junkies. Like my favorite television show growing up was the Watergate hearings. Okay, so I was there right from the beginning. I was binge watching when there was no DVRs. There are things in here for people like us. There's something on the D is for deep state, and it shows some Russian nesting dolls. The Russian nesting dolls' faces are Comey and Strzok and Page. You might not have noticed that. I don't know if you got that when you went through.
No, I didn't.
Okay, see, that's little things like that. I thought were kind of nice. And sometimes my illustrator came up with great ideas. Sometimes it was me. He came up with Hillary going down in the polls and sort of matching that a little bit with her falling down the stairs. I actually thought twice about that because I really, like I said, I didn't want it to be something that would just, that unless you were really, really on the right, you wouldn't like. And as I said, I think I've pretty much achieved that. So I'm happy with that.
Well, Sharron, this is something that what we're going to do next is something I always wanted to happen in my life privately. We are going to have the author of a book read to us from the book.
Oh, boy.
So, Mike, I have my copy of Dr. Deplorables there. I take it you have yours also.
I have more than a few in my home office here.
All right. So what I'm going to do is and again, this is Dr. Deplorables, political characters from A to Z. I love this because, as I said, we watch our little niece. She loves books. Mike, by the way, when we're done with this book, at the end of this interview, our little Harper is going to get this book.
Oh, great.
But what we're going to do, Mike, is I'll bring up some of the letters. You read the character and what you say about the character, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
Well, let's start with A, anarchists.
This was the beginning of my thoughts on how to do this. I love the idea of just taking anarchists down a notch since they're so full of themselves. So it reads as follows. A is for anarchists, bashing and trashing. Whatever's been built up, that's what they're smashing. Bricks thrown through glass of each store and museum, masks over faces so no one can see them. And yeah, go ahead.
We'll go right next door, boondoggle. We talk about boondoggles here a lot on Conservative Commandos.
Yes, and it's a fun little word. B is for boondoggle. Oh, I'm sorry. It's showing a high-speed trade partly going off a cliff, and with some taxpayers unhappy about the money out of their pockets.
Here, I'll hold that up so you can see what we're talking about there.
You see in the corner there are some fat cats rolling in dough over this boondoggle, of course. B is for boondoggle, wastefully spending the taxes we pay for their schemes never ending. Don't trust their budgets or cronies, we warn you. Those high-speed train dreams may derail California.
Well, we can't do every one of them, but you mentioned D for deep state, so
yes, it's Jim Comey and Strzok and Page. I forget their first names from time to time, but I remember who they are.
All right. So read us about D is for deep state.
D is for deep state, obscure, dark, and murky, like nesting dolls baked inside ham inside turkey. Each president's wishes they're sworn to enforce, yet Washington pros fight to steer their own course. Rather fun, that one.
And one thing that I am always talking about here on Conservative Commandos is entitlements, and everybody thinks they're entitled to everything. Entitlements. Read that one.
I will read. I'm going to say first, it was, this one I struggled over how to get across the notion of why entitlements don't always make sense, and I decided to at least introduce the idea. For a lot of these pages, the parent's going to need to talk to their kid or niece or.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
I think so. But the idea was, where do you get these entitlements, right? You're entitled to it, so how do you find the people to give it to you? So E's for entitlements, things that are due you, like hospitals, college, and a trip to the zoo, too. So where do the docs, profs, and animals come from? You got me with that, chum. It's quite a conundrum.
That's entitlements. Mike, do you have a few favorites in your book?
I do. I'm a big fan of W.
W. All right.
W is for woke, and everyone's trying to get us to be very woke. W is for woke, using Zoom-powered lenses to hype every slight and discount all defenses. Walking on eggshells is a form of retreat. I prefer to march forward with boots on my feet. I don't know if you can see at the bottom there, but your hands over there, they're eggs that this
walking on eggs.
Desperately not to hit. Now, the one you showed next to it was probably it was probably the most interesting for me to decide how to
hold it this way.
Yeah, I'll read it first, and then maybe we can just talk a bit about how I approached it.
Sure.
And I've learned by the internet that you pronounce it xenophobes. I don't know for sure if that's right, but that's what I'm going to do.
I say tomato, you say tomato. I've always said xenophobes.
X is for heck with it. X is for xenophobes, fearful, distrusting of people whose countries seem strange or disgusting. While fake news says this describes half of the nation, our suspicion is built on a solid foundation. Now, you've got a book, you're going to be reading it to kids who could be pretty young ages. And my children were actually in grade school when the towers were hit.
Mm-hmm.
Being in New Jersey, they actually, they had friends who had friends whose parents had been there and been victims. I don't know what I would do with a young child trying to explain the towers to them today, trying to explain what happened and how it felt to be there, and distinctly remembering the feeling that you didn't know that this was over. You thought that this was just the beginning of Armageddon. But I certainly knew that that no parent was going to want to have a book for their kids that showed planes going into the towers or people jumping from the windows. And I decided to take it all the way to the other extreme, to show how magnificent the towers were, how wonderful they were. It's just favorite buildings of mine. And let the parent or the grandparent or whatever decide how, you could just say, well, these are nice buildings if you're reading to a 3-year-old, or these are important buildings or whatever. And over time, use this to get that across. Now, I have to admit, in looking back on it, the idea that I was going to have a book that people were going to pull down from their shelf every 2 years and read to their kids is a little less than humble, I'll say. But I really do think that it could merit that if you want. I've also found lots of people, with or without kids, who just enjoyed the book when I showed it to them as adults and just thought the humor was nice. And it is pretty rare these days. You can't tune in a television show and find humor outside. I shouldn't say that. You have Greg Gutfeld and a few other people, but there's not much out there. So this will be the oasis for a couple people.
Our guest this segment is Mike Zelenty. He's the author of this book. It's for children. Dr. Deplorables, Political Characters A to Z. Hey, Mike, we have to take a quick break. Could you hold on for just a few moments for us, please?
I would be delighted to.
Because I know Sharron Angle will want to talk with you about that. Sharron being a mother, grandmother, former teacher, I'm sure she'll have a lot of great questions for you.
I'll try to get ready.
And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Dr. Deplorables, Political Characters from A to Z, with Sharron Angle and our guest, Mike Zelenty. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with a shout out to our listeners in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California. Rick, we're everywhere. And
don't forget Washington. We're now in Washington, D.C., Arlington, Virginia. It's our first show there.
That's right. And we've been talking with our guest, Mike Zelenty, who has written a book, Dr. Deplorables, Political Characters A to Z. So tell me, what ages is this book for? You know, everybody's going to want to know now, are you writing for junior high? Are you writing for 3-year-olds? Who are you writing for, Mike?
Well, that's been on interviews I've done. That's been the toughest question I have to answer. I like to think that my kids, when they were young, were bright enough and inquisitive enough that they would have found it interesting at age 4 or 5. I might be remembering that. You know, you get long past it and you forget exactly where they were at what age. But I think anytime, you know, the kids are inquisitive enough, the pictures are fun and funny enough by themselves. Some of the verses are going to be easy for kids to understand, some of them a little bit less. And I think if you pick and choose from the book, that's probably the best way to do it. I certainly would hope that someday some preteen or teenager is reading it on their own and chuckling. I was trying to go for Mad Magazine meets Yertle the Turtle. So something in that sphere.
Well, so how serious do you think the indoctrination of our children is by the education system?
Oh, it's pretty deep and strong out there. It's I have 2 kids who are now Californians, one in LA and one in the San Francisco area, and you know they got hit with it pretty good in college, a little bit in grade school. You know, an awful lot of it comes down to parents setting good examples and talking about things. And as I was saying earlier, I think the key to talking about these kinds of issues is recognizing that they're not going to come up on their own, right? We didn't force our children to sit down and watch the news with us at night. They were busy doing kid things. And in the absence of them watching the news, they didn't appear to have a particular interest in newspapers, other than one story I'll tell you about in a bit. So if you're not bringing it up, it's not happening. But it's clearly part of the school curriculum, right? I mean, you're supposed to teach civics and social science and history. And I would guess that in most schools, at least a majority of the teachers are coming at it from the left side. And in my experience, at least, the people who are most willing to bring their political viewpoint into play, and indoctrinate maybe is a strong word, but to certainly share their opinions with students, tend to be people on the left. They feel very strongly that they know what's right and everybody else is an idiot, and there's less humility than there ought to be. And so, you know, I remember hearing all kinds of stuff in grade school and high school that, in retrospect, well, these people really were steering me wrong. But what are you going to do? My son did have a wonderful experience with the newspaper. I was explaining to him about the stock market pages because some of my clients were on there, and I was very pleased. He was about 10 or 11. He really got it. He got it down totally. And then he was sitting looking at the paper, and I'm sitting drinking my coffee, just proud as heck as a parent. And he says, "Dad, why isn't your name in here?" And I go, "Oh no, he doesn't get it at all." He goes, "Alex, what are you talking about?" He goes, 10 biggest losers.
Oh,
Sorry,
oh my gosh!
I was so proud of him.
So, we talked about what age group you're appealing to and the indoctrination in schools, which we send our children to school at age 5. How early do they start this indoctrination in school?
Boy, I think it's early. It's subtle, right? I mean, how much easier is it to say, save the planet, save the whales, whatever. Look at these poor little seals. And to talk about meaningful stewardship of the environment in a way that actually works is a really difficult thing to do. And I think teachers who, again, I think humility keeps coming into it. If you're humble enough, you recognize, boy, I can't really teach this very well to a 5-year-old. But if you're not, and your view is there are good guys who love the animals, and there's the bad people who hate the animals, it's an easy lesson. And I just think that a lot of things fall into that category. It's very easy to say, here are the nice people, here are the nice things, and the animals and the plants and the world. We all agree with that. Only some of us think that there are bad guys trying to ruin it all, which, as you get older and wiser, you realize, no, there really aren't that many snidely whiplash people in the world who are out to wreck things. They must have some other concepts of what to do. So.
Well, on this show, we have watched over the last 4 years, really, the rise of Trump and the rise of the animosity toward Trump. It's stunning when we see it. And I'm wondering, has what you've been talking about in your book, has that gotten worse, do you think, since Trump's been elected?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it has. I mean, it's less successful than it used to be, which is, thank God for that. But it is severe. It is sort of the trapped animal lashing out. Just a couple of days ago, I was in a store. I live in Arlington, Virginia. I was in a store in D.C. that sells souvenirs and books and things, and I was talking to the owner about possibly carrying the book. And, I could tell from the bookstore that she probably wasn't a conservative, let's just say. But I figured, let me give it a try. And she wound up, after talking to me for a while, she said, I'm concerned about carrying it. That when we carried some conservative type, she didn't call them conservative, some political things, right? Because their bookshelves full of Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, those weren't political. But when she carried political things, she said, we got some things scrawled on our window outside. How could you do this? Notes. And I just thought, wow, this is, it's not an exaggeration to talk about that as fascism. I mean, I studied what Germany was like before Hitler and how it got there. It started with people demanding that everyone think alike and talk alike. And it's a pretty easy thing to just slip a little bit more and a little bit more. Where you say, well, I'm sure the two of you do as conservative and principled as you are, there are probably situations where you go, it's not worth it for me to aggravate this person and have this person aggravate me. I'll just talk this way. I won't deny my beliefs, but I'm not going to talk about them because life's too short.
But you see, that's the problem, Mike.
Oh, I agree.
The other side think that if they scroll things on windows, that bookstore won't carry anything from the other side. That's why I'm so glad you wrote this book.
Oh, thank you.
I think we need more of this coming from our side. The conservative side needs to do more of this. Mike, we want to thank you for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Please tell our audience where they can find out more about the book, where they can get the book.
Okay, right now there are one place to find out about it and two places to get it. You can go to the website drdeplorable.com. I figured Zelenty was a tough name for people to remember. That's why the name Dr. Deplorable. So you can go to that website and you can read about the book there. There's some humorous things on the website, and you can see about the book. You can also go on Amazon, which I caved, it's Jeff Bezos, but I did it. I do a sell-through on Amazon, but I also set up a Kindle edition for people who would rather, spend a little less and just check it out that way. So I'm happy if anybody's checking it out, and let me know what you think.
Well, I think you should also try to sell it on Facebook. You talk about Amazon, let's use the enemy to get our message across. Facebook, Amazon, yes, they're very leftist, but let's use their material. Let's use their platform to also sell our site. Mike Zelenty, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos. Take care. God bless, and good luck with the book.
Thank you very much, both of you. Appreciate it a lot.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be talking with Nicole Neily. She's the president and founder of First Speech, or Speech First. She's going to be talking about students' parents must take ownership of college decisions. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes. Now, people say, why didn't you report it to the authorities? Well, they were the ones doing it.
The integrity of one man, one vote doesn't apply at the Texas state legislature. There is no way to know if your representatives are voting for themselves.
Department, a Republican reaches back to vote for Democrat Oliveira. Democrat Matt Reynolds votes for Republican England.
2 out of 3 voters nationwide believe that voter fraud is a serious problem in the U.S. today.
The process is rigged.
Both sides of the aisle are guilty.
Florida now has to tell the Department of Justice whether the state will comply with DOJ's demand to stop purging thousands of people from its voter rolls.
We have the sloppiest election system of any industrialized democracy.
Philadelphia flagged 50,000 duplicate registrations, so just think how many more slipped through.
It's almost impossible to detect. How do you get caught? You only get caught if you confess.
Election corruption is deeply embedded in America. Quote, election fraud is a crime that usually pays, unquote, writes Tracy Campbell in his book, Deliver the Vote, A History of Election Fraud, an American political tradition from 1742 to 2004. In 1742, the first Prime Minister of Britain in the American colonies, Robert Walpole, was forced to resign.
We have a right not to have our vote canceled out by someone who shouldn't be voting, someone who's an illegal alien, someone who's a felon not eligible to vote, someone who doesn't exist. If they vote, they cancel your vote out as much as if you're prevented from voting.
If this is going to be fixed, it's going to have to be a citizen effort. It comes down to, it's the same old question, if not now, when? If not us, then who?
This is huge. This is about the democracy and the principles of the United States of America. People say, but why you? Why you? Why not? And if it starts with a fireman, if it starts with a sanitation worker, if it starts with a teacher or a nurse or a caretaker of the elderly, then so be it. It's got to start somewhere. But it's time we come together and fix this problem once and for all.
There is no serious person out there who would suggest somehow that you could even rig America's elections.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
Serious allegations of voter fraud, the claims raising questions about the
Commerce Secretary Ron Brown and 32 others were on a military plane that crashed today in a violent storm. There are no known survivors at this time.
The U.S. Army was funded by the evil entity.
I saw voter fraud with my own eyes.
To say that it doesn't exist is an outright lie.
The process is rigged.
People die and fall for the right time. It's too late.
So it's incredibly important now
say, not on our watch.
And welcome back. Welcome back to Conservative Commandos Radio Show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle. For a rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You can find our radio show there. You'll find our TV show there. A lot of great articles and some terrific information. And Sharron, our next guest is with us. Please make her feel welcome.
Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Nicole Neily, who's the president and founder of Speech First. She is also the former president of the Franklin Center for Government and Public Integrity and has worked as executive director and senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum and as manager of external relations for the Cato Institute. Nicole, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show.
Thank you for having me back.
Well, we wanted to discuss your article, Prospective Students, Parents Must Take Ownership of College Decision Processes. You know, this is a big deal, this college that we're seeing. I was commenting to Rick earlier on in the show about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez getting her economics degree from Boston College and really not even having a clue as to what the Constitution says about separation of powers. So, you know, we have been sending our children off to school, basically off to college, trusting the colleges to teach them. What are we getting back?
No, it's a really scary thing, and you think how expensive college is these days, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. For exactly what you pointed out, what kind of quality education you're getting for that. And sadly, our students are coming out not only not learning anything, but often having their civil rights violated on a regular basis, which is a huge concern.
It is. And I guess the biggest issue for me is they come out indoctrinated. You send them there, fairly well-adjusted adults who have a balanced view of their culture and how family values work, and like I said, a fairly balanced viewpoint. You encourage them to make up their own minds, but when they come out, they're ready to disown their family because we have differing political viewpoints. What's going on?
Sure. I mean, I think students on a regular basis, they face death by 1,000 cuts when it comes to free expression and intellectual diversity and, inquiry and debate. They get the message both directly and indirectly from schools. Keep your head down, keep your mouth shut. Certain viewpoints are welcome. And if you decide to challenge them, push back, or question the status quo, your grades will suffer. You will be ostracized. And in many cases, you'll actually be disciplined. And so, any kind of rational student is just going to say, you know what, I'm not going to join the club. I'm not going to raise my hand in class. I'm not going to write the term paper I believe in because I just want to get through the 4 years and get out. And what that behavior ends up, the behavior that's ingrained from that is it's just reciting talking points. It's not thinking for yourself anymore. And that is not a real college education. Our students deserve much better.
Well, it seems pretty pervasive across the country. It's not just one isolated Boston college, for example. And not just Berkeley. We always did call it Berkeley. Berkeley is a little bit off the charts, always has been. But here, even at the University of Nevada, Reno, we're finding this same indoctrination going on. And these are state colleges, state universities. So it seems pervasive to me. Is it that way, or am I just coming into just certain little pockets of it?
No, you're right. There is a group called the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, FIRE. They look at schools with different speech codes across the country, and they have found that 9 out of 10 schools around the country, public, private, community college, the Ivies, have a policy on the books that substantially impacts student or faculty speech. So, according to the Department of Education, there are over 5,000 degree granting institutions across the country. I mean, run those numbers. That's 4,500 schools that have at least one significantly bad policy in the books. That is horrifying. And that is a real problem. And definitely that's why we need to fight back. We can't take it.
Well, it seems like it's hard to fight back when you've got choices of 500 schools, maybe, that aren't teaching this stuff. How do you find those 500 schools?
Sure. I mean, it's a much, unfortunately, there's a lot more information out there than there was. I mean, even when I went to college, a while ago, when I went to school, we looked at, all right, what is in-state tuition? What's the scholarship package you might be getting? All right, great, let's go. How many student loans can you take out or not take out? And now there's a lot more information out there. And so I think it's really incumbent on parents and families to do a little bit of due diligence to figure out how are civil rights issues, civil liberties issues being treated on campus these days. Free speech, due process issues are a huge problem as well. And then also just, has the school been in the news recently for any kinds of major flare-ups? I mean, I think what really affects these schools is the bottom line. You look at schools like the University of Missouri that had an incident a few years ago in 2015. Their enrollment dropped 30%. They've had to lay off faculty. Evergreen State, with their incident in 2017, they have the smallest freshman class that they have ever had this year. And that sends a very clear message to administrators, both the bad actors as well as the good actors. It's rewarding behavior. Enrollment is up at places like the University of Chicago that have laid out strong statements supporting free speech, saying, you have not come here to be protected and coddled. You have come here to be challenged. And that's why we've seen, I think at this point, it's up to 56 schools across the country that have adopted a form of what's called the Chicago Statement that echoes that strong support for free speech and free inquiry. So, I think there's a real role for parents to play here in voting with our dollars.
Oh, I think you're exactly right. It's just, how do we educate these parents in not just saying, oh, well, UNR was good enough for me, it's good enough for you.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is I think alumni networks have a really strong role to play in this as well. I mean, sadly, what's going on campus is there's not one cause for it, and so there's not one solution for it. But alumni networks, I think, really, they do have a strong role to play in this, because alumni donations are also a big pressure point for a lot of these schools. A few years ago, Virginia Tech had disinvited a Wall Street Journal editorial writer named Jason Riley, who was speaking about something very controversial like capitalism. They disinvited him, and he had a platform. He wrote about it for the Journal. He went on Fox and he talked about it. And it came out through a Freedom of Information request a few months later that it was actually the development department that was applying pressure internally, saying, you have to invite this guy back again. We are getting killed. We're getting emails. We're getting Facebook messages. People are dropping football tickets. They're dropping their donations. You have to fix this. And so that's the kind of thing where the schools are listening. They might not be immediately responsive, but I mean, at some schools, the alumni networks are little more than just, a rubber stamp. And we have seen at schools like the University of Texas actually parallel alumni organizations sprout up because people are so disenfranchised with just getting the party line. They really want to know what's really going on their campus and, frankly, what the value of their degree is. I mean, I look at my alma mater and I'm embarrassed at some of the stuff that I see happening on campus these days. And when they called me for a donation a few months ago, I said, I'm really sorry. You don't respect student civil rights. I will not be giving you a gift. And they just said, okay. So I hope they report that up the line. But I think, we need a lot more people doing that.
Well, I think you're right. But so we get the policy changed at the institution. How do we get the professors changed? It seems like it's right there in the classroom where a lot of the civil rights are being infringed upon, and we don't hear about that. The kids don't complain. They just, like you said, keep their head down and try and get that grade and get out.
Sure. I mean, I think, yeah, you're right. It's one matter to get to the right school, but there's a lot of bad professors. And I mean, thanks to tenure, a lot of them, frankly, it's impossible to get them out. And that's actually the complaint that I hear most frequently from students are, my professor brings their personal politics into the classroom and they end up talking. I mean, one student I talked to before the 2016 election, he said his physics professor told him the day before the election, do the right thing and vote for Hillary. What does that have to do with physics? I mean, how dare you? And, he said that the professor later saw him wearing a Make America Great hat and then refused to write him a letter of recommendation. And so you hear these stories, and students tell each other these stories, and they think, wow, I'm going to sanitize my politics. I know what the teacher wants me to say, so I'm going to say it even if I don't believe in it. So I think, fortunately, there's a lot of resources for students to look at things like ratemyprofessor.com. Turning Point USA has their professor watch list, which some people don't like, but you know what? It's a resource that's out there. And if you believe that your grade will be impacted, I used to sign up for classes based on, I don't want anything before 10 a.m. I don't want anything on Fridays. And, students, it's really, they have to do their due diligence as well and figure out what works for them, because this is more than just 4 years of having fun. These are the kinds of things that, if you're trying to apply for law school, for medical school, you do want to pick the right professors who will give you a fair shake, because the days of professors like Thomas Sowell crowing about how they were proud that students didn't know where they came from in the political spectrum, those days are long gone.
Well, and as you say, we have a $280,000 plus education, which makes us have to pay back all kinds of loans, because there's just no parent really very few parents that have $280,000 saved up in their kids' college fund. Right. This is a huge investment, and I would think that they would be seeing students coming out of high school saying, college isn't for me. I'm going to trade school, or I'm just going to go to a community college and get my dental hygienist certificate. What about that? Is this now becoming prohibitive to even college educations, regardless of the political stance?
Right. That's why we see, obviously, a lot of politicians saying, we want to wipe student debt away, or we want to wipe college debt away. We want to free college for all. And, let's think about the role of the federal government in creating this higher ed bubble. If people had to actually pay and internalize the cost of this, I think there would be a lot more difficult choices being made, as opposed to, we'll just go with it. And even if I have to default, what's going to happen to me? Is the federal government has just created this absurd, I look at, my alma mater, all the buildings they've built, and it's an edifice complex. They don't need these fancy dorms. They don't need the crazy swimming pools. You're there to learn. And so again, those are the kinds of decisions you should be looking at, because every semester when you had $5 tacked on for a student fee, it adds up, but then you think, all right, well, at a school of 40,000 students, $5 a student per semester for student fees, who's getting those student fees? When they start to dole them out to the different clubs, it's, often we see a lot of bias in where that ends up getting doled out. And so the inequities in the system they're pervasive.
We're talking with Nicole Neily, president and founder of Speech First, about her article, Prospective Students, Parents Must Take Ownership for College Decisions Processes. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California, specifically San Francisco and Sacramento. We'll be right back with Nicole Neily. I'm Sharron Angle, and our co-host is Rick Trader.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving, and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877 484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Engel, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network and around the world on Al Gore's amazing internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, AM/FM 24/7, and now seen on the AUN television network in California. Our guest this segment is Nicole Neily. She's the president and founder of Speech First, and we're discussing her article, Prospective Students, Parents Must Take Ownership of College Decision Process. Nicole, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
Nicole, 3 times, and I added them up here, I kept track 3 times during your chat with Sharron, you mentioned your alma mater, but you never said where you went.
I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
All right. Well, if University of Illinois is so bad, and people listening to this, watching this, says, I don't know, look at Nicole Neily. I mean, she's a smart, articulate lady. Didn't do too bad by her.
Well, you know what? It's because I went to a great graduate school. I went to Pepperdine University's School of Public Policy, and that actually is the first place that I was exposed to the great books. I got a political science degree from a major state university. I didn't have to take an American history class. I didn't have to read Capitalism and Freedom. I didn't have to read the Federalist Papers. I mean, so it was not until I went to graduate school that I was exposed to a set of documents that are really foundational to our country's founding.
All right. You know, the wife and I was having a conversation the other day sitting on the deck. We were talking about our little niece, Harper. She's 3 years old. We can't imagine there's a child smarter than Harper. The vocabulary of this child is unbelievable. And we were talking about college for her. And yeah, maybe not. This is jumping the gun a little bit, but we were talking about college for her. And I mentioned to my bride a couple of things. If we are in a position to help Harper, shouldn't we have a choice of where she goes, where we're going to be sending our money? I mean, that, and my wife mentioned something else, and then I'll get your comments about this. My wife graduated from what was at that time Glassboro State college. Now today it's Rowan University in South Jersey. Her 50th reunion is coming up in a few years. I don't want to be telling my wife's age. But do you know what she paid a year for college at that time? You want to take a guess?
$8,000 a year.
How about $350?
Wow.
$350, and that education did not. She didn't do too bad about that. She had a lifelong career in teaching, something that she loved. But $350, and I just find it's unbelievable, Nicole, what education, the cost of higher education goes for today. It freaks my mind out. So let's go back and talk about these things. Let's talk about, money. All right, parents spending for the. Sharon's laughing. She knew I was on side. Let's talk about this. Okay, parents are putting out the money to send their kids to college. What right do they have to say to their kids, oh, you're going to go to this school or that school, or we won't support you if you go to this school or that school?
Or
I'm not being ridiculous.
No, I mean, also think about some of the majors that are offered too. I mean, what are your job prospects if you go into women's studies? I mean, I used to run a women's organization. This is not to rag on ladies. But really, I mean, what are your job prospects for that versus going to a trade school, being a plumber? Everybody needs plumbers. Everybody always wants a plumber as a friend.
Right.
Or, getting a business degree, going into economics, maybe from somewhere that's not Boston College. There are some skills and some sets that are always going to be needed. And then there are some where you pay top dollar. And I think, we tell students, follow your passion. Is that really the best advice as well? I mean, we do need to be practical too. College used to be a luxury good, and now it's kind of a default setting. And, we have to make some real tough decisions as to what we want to be as a country.
Right.
Because, are we graduating the right kinds of students? Not necessarily.
Well, let's talk about financing of an education. As I said, we're talking about Harper, our little 3-year-old niece. If we are in a position to help her, we would like to help her. But, Nicole, I also think that people appreciate and get the most out of something they pay for and earn themselves. Do you think that not enough burden is being placed upon the kids? I mean, I think there are too many kids out there that go to college to get a degree in FUN. Do you think some of that, more of that burden should be placed on the kid, that they'll do better in college?
I mean, what's that anecdote from Milton Friedman that, people are more careful when they spend their own money? When I'm spending your money, I'm not that careful. When I'm spending my money on not me, then I'm sort of careful, but I'm not super careful. But when I'm spending my own money on myself, I'm watching every penny. I think you're right. And that's what, again, just with the glut of federal aid and federal dollars that are flowing to a lot of these universities, it's desensitized students to what the actual cost of the education is.
Right.
I think that's a problem.
Well, Nicole, in your article, you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned fire. You also mentioned Turning Point. What about Nicole Neily and free speech? Do they have a list of colleges that maybe you say to others, hey, you need to look at this college for your child?
Well, we have filed 2 federal lawsuits against 2 state schools. So I would say there are 2 state schools that are not great on free speech right now. So hopefully, after our lawsuits are resolved, they'll be a little bit better. But
and they are? What college?
We sued the University of Michigan last May, and we sued the University of Texas in December because we believe that they are substantially chilling student speech and expression through policies that punish students for expressing themselves. They use terms like they ban offensive speech. Well, that's pretty broad. And who's defining what offensive is? It's kind of in the eye of the beholder. It's like saying food is delicious. And sadly, it's often not constitutional scholars that are determining what's offensive. It's a diversity department. It's the dean of students who has gone, just comes from a very different worldview. And that kind of discretion, universities being able to pick winners and losers, is very problematic because sadly, Political speech and religious speech are often the kinds of speeches that are deemed hateful, that are deemed biased. And you know what? On public universities, they're state actors. They can't pick that. All speech is acceptable. It's First Amendment, period, the end.
Okay, Nicole Neily, give us about 30, 45 seconds about your organization, Speech First.
Sure. So Speech First is a membership association. We want to support students, but we're not just for students. We're also made up of parents, alumni, grandparents, just concerned citizens.
About radio talk show hosts. I'm a member.
Talk show host. Because we believe that, it's scary for students to file a lawsuit. Nobody really wants to be that person, Nikki versus University of Illinois. And so we file on behalf of our membership. It's Speech First versus the school because we want to protect the students' anonymity. They credibly fear retaliation and punishment. And so I'm the person who gets the hate mail, not them. And so, we encourage everybody to join speechfirst.org. Membership is $5 because we want to defend students on campus through every step of the process, through litigation and other means. We want to cheer the schools that are doing well, but we want to hold their feet to the fire, the schools that are doing badly.
Okay, Nicole Neily, president and founder of Speech First. I can't imagine anybody being mad at you. You're so intelligent and everything. But we want to thank you for joining us. Again, please tell our audience how they could find out more about Speech First and also to read your article.
Sure, it's speechfirst.org. So super easy, just one word.
Love it, love it.
Thank you.
And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Don't go away. We'll be back with more right after this break.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Well, Sharon, once again, that just about wraps it up for today. I want to thank you for sitting in as my co-host. Please tell our audience where they could find out more about you when you're not here at Conservative Commandos.
Well, they can find me on the internet, SharonAngle.com, SharonAngle.com. And of course, our show isn't nearly as good. How's that? Without our guests. They make our show. And I want to thank Hans Von Spakovsky for coming on and talking about judges can't ignore immigration laws like they don't, just because they don't like them.
All right, and I want to thank Michael Zelenty. His book, Dr. Deplorable's Political Characters from A to Z. Pick this up for your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews. We have to support the conservative view. We have to counteract the liberal bias that these kids are seeing on places like Nickelodeon and all the other liberal kids channel. Again, Dr. Deplorable's Political Characters from A to Z by Michael Zelenty.
Well, and speaking of our kids, we had our last guest, and we want to thank Nicole Neily, who is the founder of Speech First, and she talked to us about prospective students. Parents must take ownership of college decision-making processes.
All right. And with that, we are out of time. We got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
There's only one thing going on Capitol Hill with the various investigations and charges, and that is that the Democrats are trying to discredit Barr. They're trying to make him seem to be an outrageous partisan who lies and distorts and perjured himself in front of Congress. And the reason they're doing that is because they're scared to death now that Trump is able to focus the full Justice Department resources on investigating the Democrats, not the Republicans. investigating particularly Hillary's conduct in selling our uranium to Russia, Hillary's conduct in concealing the emails from public view, the Justice Department's failure to pursue Hillary's crimes as they related to the emails, the pay-for-play that went on between the Clinton Foundation and the Justice Department. And there is so much there for them to investigate. And the Democrats are afraid of that investigation. So they're taking a page from Bill Clinton's playbook, where from day one he savaged Ken Starr, his prosecutor, to keep him off balance and make him unable to move ahead and throw Bill Clinton out of office. And that worked, and the Democrats are hoping that this will work in intimidating Barr and undermining his credibility as a source. But it's not going to work because Barr is a very determined guy. The Justice Department is being very impartial. There were serious crimes committed by Hillary Clinton and by the Clinton Foundation. The whole pay-for-play bribery stuff is going to come out in gory detail. And I believe that Barr is pursuing this without fear and without favor. So the Democrats are going to try to undermine him any way they can and invent every excuse they can think of to do that. But I don't think it's going to work, and I think that we have to look at events in Washington through that perspective. Trump is now on the offensive. The Democrats are on the defensive. And the best defense is a counterattack, and that's what they're trying to do to Barr. And it's really that simple.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Democrat Cory Booker supports Medicare for all. Oh wait, he doesn't. Oh wait, he really does. Look what happens when he tries to have it both ways during an interview with CNN's Jake Tapper. Also, the Democrats are in complete disarray. They don't know what to do with Trump, and now the latest numbers show that the economy is booming. What are they going to do in 2020? We'll look at that, plus ask the question, is this the end of women's sports? All of that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, folks, I hope you had a great weekend. Please hit the subscribe button. And when you do, go ahead and hit the bell. That way you'll be notified. All right, let's dive into the show. First, we're going to start with Cory Booker, because he right here just personifies the whole state of the Democrat Party. He was talking to CNN's Jake Tapper this weekend, and Jake was taking him to task on his stance on Medicare for all, trying to have it both ways, saying, I support this left-wing position. Oh, no, I really don't. I'm a pragmatist. I do believe in private health insurance. Look at what happens when it goes down, because Jake actually tried to do a good interview, and here's how it started.
You are a co-sponsor of Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All bill, which essentially will ultimately get rid of private health insurance for everything except for extraneous things like cosmetic surgery. But you have said you favor a health plan that does not do away with private insurance. So are you supporting a bill you don't believe in? I don't understand. No.
All right, so see, yeah, he seems a little bit confused, but surely Cory is going to answer this question, right?
You don't let your sort of purity of what you're looking for undermine urgent results needed right now for the people in your community. They don't have time to wait for us to get to a point years down the road.
Wait a second, was that even an answer? Do you know what he even said?
I don't understand the words you just said.
See, yeah, I don't either. But here is Jake doing a follow-up, trying to get the answer.
This system is broken.
Right, but do you support Medicare for all?
I stand by supporting Medicare for all, but I'm also that pragmatist.
Ah, so Booker is a pragmatist. And what he means by that is, I'm left-wing, but hey, not too left-wing. So Tapper corrects him and actually gets to the heart of the politics.
With all due respect, Senator, that's not what this bill does that you co-sponsored.
And Jake, we're friends long enough to say that whenever you start something with all due respect,
you know it's trouble.
I know it's trouble.
Well, the text of the bill says, quote, "It shall be unlawful for a private health insurer to sell health insurance coverage that duplicates the benefits provided under this act." And I just wonder, look, you favor a pragmatic approach that doesn't go that far. And I just wonder, did you feel pressure from liberal and progressive activists? Oh, you need to sign up for Medicare for all when you didn't actually believe in it? Look.
So see, there you have it. And it gets to the heart of what's going on with all the Democrats. They're running in a socialist electorate. They're trying to get elected by socialists by running as far to the left as possible. Yet they know that's not America. That's not mainstream America. So they try and caveat it, say I'm a pragmatist, say I don't really believe it. Well, guess what? If you sign up for Medicare for all, you are saying you do not believe in private health insurance. There's no two ways about it, and Booker got blasted by it. So that's just Booker, though. All the Democrats in general are in disarray because they have to run against President Trump, and they don't know what to do. They didn't want him elected in the first place, so they spied on him. The media, since he got elected, has been intense. They tried to get rid of him with the Mueller investigation. That didn't work. They thought the American people would probably reject him because he doesn't know what he was doing. And yet the economy is booming, and the latest numbers show it. This weekend, President Trump took to Twitter, and here's what he said. He said, "We can all agree that America is now number one. We are the envy of the world, and the best is yet to come." So see, he put a couple links there from Drudge Report. So let's look at a few of those, and so that you'll have some ammunition on what's really going on with the economy. First, from the Associated Press. Hiring accelerated and pay rose at a solid pace in April, setting the stage for healthy U.S. economic growth to endure despite fears of a slowdown earlier this year. Employers added 263,000 jobs, with the unemployment rate dropping to a 5-decade low of 3.6% from 3.8%. Average hourly pay rose 3.2% from 12 months earlier, matching March's year-over-year increase. American households have become more confident since the winter and are ramping up spending. Consumer spending surged in March by most in nearly a decade. A likely factor is that steady job growth and solid wage increases have enlarged America's paychecks. And here's a follow-up report from CNBC. Leaving aside month-to-month fluctuations, the labor market is still very strong, adding almost double the number of workers needed to keep pace with new entrants to the labor force in any given month, said Eric Winograd, AllianceBernstein senior economist. Wages may have been slightly tepid this month relative to expectations, but are still growing at just about the highest rate this cycle, and the unemployment rate is at a multi-generational low. All right, so folks, and this The other links that he pointed out show that Hispanic unemployment is at historic lows. Women's unemployment is at major lows. And even unemployment for people without college educations are at all-time lows. So it just shows that the economy is raising all boats. And so the Democrats are going to have a hard time. We already saw in previous show that Biden is running on Trump is a racist. That's his card. You've got other people blasting him like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar saying that he won't, embrace socialism with the Green New Deal, or he's too pro-Israel. And Biden says he's racist. So there's their platform that they're running on. Basically, Trump is a, pro-Israel racist, non-socialist. Well, good luck with that one. All right, folks, I want to talk about women's sports because this is a big deal. I've been an athlete, my whole life, first in tennis, then in racing. And I've got a daughter who competed, at a very high level in sports, my son as well. And it stuns me and it saddens me to see what's going on with the radical transgender agenda in sports, pushing men to compete in women's sports, allowing this, and just basically shutting out women. And a couple months ago, we talked about the Connecticut High School State Track Championships, and I talked about the girls' 55-meter dash, where the first and second place winners were boys, all right? Recently, you had a World Championship women's cycling event. I'll put the picture up here, and this shows the winner of that event, okay? And then last week, we had a powerlifting event where a woman won in the women's division. The winner in 9 out of 9 events is a biological male. So what are we doing? What are we doing here allowing this kind of thing? And the report is just amazing because it just shows how much of an advantage in powerlifting it really was. Here's a report from Breitbart. It says, transgender powerlifter Mary Gregory recently celebrated the feat of smashing 4 women's weightlifting records at the same event. But opponents cried foul since Gregory was born a man and also only recently announced becoming a transgender woman. Competing at the 100% Raw Weightlifting Federation competition last weekend, Gregory set a series of records for women's weightlifting and won 9 out of 9 events. Gregory set records in Masters World Squat, Open World Bench Press, Masters World Deadlift, and Masters World Total, Yahoo Sports reported. And you could expect that there was outrage, and outrage actually did come in from female athletes. Here's one from Sharron Davies, who's a former British Olympic swimmer. This is a trans woman, a male body with male physiology, setting a world record and winning a women's event in America in powerlifting. A woman with female biology cannot compete. It's a pointless, unfair playing field. All right, 2004 Olympic gold medalist Kelly Holmes tweeted this. It's a bloody joke and all getting ready for biological women to boycott certain events. Have a trans category if need be, but even better, a trans games. Otherwise, I'm starting to worry about the backlash and abuse that the trans community will get from spectators. It will happen. Fortunately, this organization, this 100% Raw Powerlifting, issued a statement following this event because of the backlash and because maybe they actually have a good head on their shoulders. And in their statement, I'll put it up here, they said that according to them, this person who competed is a physiological male and will be classified for that event as male. And then it goes on. Since the lifter's gender classification for the purpose of our rules is not consistent with female, no female records will be broken by these lifts. All right, so at least they're addressing it, but this is going on and on and on. And not only is it unfair to women, but it also shows just the lunacy of the left and how their coalition is so bad to begin with, because they do not stand on regular principles like conservatives do of freedom, liberty, and things like that can apply to everybody. They try and base things on coalitions and interest groups, and when they collide, they are left, looking stupid. A perfect example is if you have the gay and lesbian community and the Muslim community. Both of these are big topics for the left. They say they support gay rights, and they say they support Muslims. You always see them come out if there's an attack on Muslim mosque or something like that, not so much if it's a Christian church. Yet, what happens, you might have seen videos where undercover reporters have gone into Muslim bakeries like in Dearborn, Michigan, and other places and asked, hey, can you make a cake for a gay or lesbian wedding? They have no problem saying, no way, we're not doing that. And yet there's no controversy there because it's two interest groups of the left going head to head. And so they kind of are just quiet and they let it go. Here we're seeing the same thing. You have the left, supposedly the champions, the advocates of feminism and women, and then you have this radical transgender agenda, and now they are running head to head. Believe me, if you're in favor of biological males competing in women's sports, you are not pro-woman. It's absolutely ridiculous, and once again, you have two competing interest groups, and the left don't know what to do because they do not stand on principles. All right, folks, finally, I've got a quick segment, and I call it the whatever segment, all right? Because for some reason, Kevin Costner decided that he wanted to speak out on politics.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's right, whatever. And so he decided, he talked to Vanity Magazine and Variety Magazine, and he had this to say, all right? This is the greatest experiment in humankind, America, Costner told Variety. The great idea about America still exists. It's still here. People still want to come here, but we're not first in hardly anything that matters, and we have an inflated idea of who we are. We exaggerate about what we are. We are everything that's great, and we are everything that's human, and our humanness and our level of selfishness is overtaking our chance to be great. All right, first of all, this is the price of freedom. When he says America is hardly great at anything that matters, he's 100% wrong, because we are the greatest country in the world. Our spirit and our leadership are the envy of the world. They've helped liberate countless nations. And the other thing that he doesn't understand is the most important thing, where we are head and shoulders the leader, is freedom and liberty. And if you have freedom and liberty, you will not necessarily be the tops on other categories. If you judge about healthcare or longevity or various diseases, America may not be at the top. And you know why? Because we have freedom of choice. You can mandate a diet that would probably get rid of heart disease, but that's not freedom. People here have the freedom to eat whatever they want, and with that comes consequences. And this is what Costner doesn't understand. And for him to blast America when it's the freest country in the world just shows how out of touch he is. Folks, that was a whatever. But that's our show for today. Please come back Wednesday. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is a 13-minute news hour.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
I'm Jeff Crouere. Thanks for watching the Jeff Crouere YouTube channel. Radicals are running amok in the Democrat Party. Let's look at some of the presidential candidates right now. Bernie Sanders, well, he's a socialist. You've got Kamala Harris, who's got a lot of buzz behind her. What does she want to do? She wants to socialize medicine. She wants to take away our right to buy health insurance. She wants to get rid of all private health insurance. That is a radical idea. Socialized medicine does not work. We need to get rid of the last vestiges of Obamacare. We need to move in the opposite direction. Then you've got people like Beto O'Rourke. He's not real sure he likes the Constitution anymore. That has worked for us for over 200 years. I think we should stick to the Constitution. Then you've got the old war horses, people like Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton maybe. Then you've got some of these people like Kirsten Gillibrand and some of the others in the Senate like Spartacus, Cory Booker. These folks are all radically to the left. So what do the Democrats believe in today? Well, some of their leaders in the House, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, want a 70% upper tax rate. Representative Ilhan Omar, she wants a 90% top rate. So they want taxes through the roof. They want to socialize medicine, like Kamala Harris and others, and Bernie. And then, of course, they want abortion on demand. And that's what we've seen in places like Vermont and Rhode Island and New York and Virginia, where we're talking about abortion throughout the 9 months of a pregnancy and even the killing of a baby after a baby is born. That's called infanticide. That is way out of the mainstream, way out of what the American people want. So this agenda is so far to the left, they've left America. And I think the Democrats are going to keep moving in that direction. And what is going to be created is really an opportunity for someone like a Howard Schultz, who's a mainstream liberal, but someone who says, wow, I don't recognize this Democrat Party. I'm going to run as an independent. If he runs as an independent, mainstream liberal, he'll take votes away from the Democrat, and that'll help re-elect the man we should be electing, of course, and that's Donald Trump, for another 4 years as president. I'm Jeff Crouere. Thanks for watching.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.